Good evening and Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Shabbat Shalom, or maybe not. We'll start again. Shabbat Shalom and good evening to everyone. We hope everyone is safe and sound, enjoying the beautiful weather here in Savannah. If you're up north somewhere and you're thinking of somewhere to move, we are a breezy 55 at night and a beautiful 70 during the day. Move down to Savannah. That's what you should do if you ask me. So welcome to our members, welcome to our visitors from out of town. We're going to begin our service on page 2 or 120, depending on which book you have, in Mishkan Tefillah. Page 2 or 120, as we're going to invite our president, Leslie Westmoreland, to light the Sabbath candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat.
Thank you, Leslie. As we're going to turn to page 7 or 125. Again, we give 2 page numbers because there's 2 versions of this prayer book, 7 or 125 for our opening reading. Where has the week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat abide. As we're going to turn to page 20 or 138, as together we sing Lachadodi. And for the last verse, as we're going to sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, I'm going to invite everyone who's here to rise and face the entrance as we welcome the Sabbath bride. Now you can stay seated for now, and we'll rise for the last verse, verse 9 again. 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Shabbat, l'kuven elcha, ki makor ha'baracha, merosh mikdem nesucha, sof ma'aseh machshava tehila, l'chadodi l'krot kala, v'nei Shabbat l'kavela, l'chadodi l'krot kala.
Verse 5. Verse 9, please rise.
Am besimcha uvetsola, togemunei, am senua, boikala, boika.
You may turn back around.
Lechado dinikrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela. Lechado dinikrat kala, v'nei Shabbat nikavela.
I want to invite everyone to remain standing as we turn to page 28 or 146 for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu. For those of you new to this prayer book, on page 28 and 29, you'll see 3 English prayers and 1 Hebrew. All 3 of those English prayers are actually just different translations of the same Hebrew prayer, so it seems like we're skipping pages when we usually choose to read just one and perhaps the Hebrew as well. Again, page 28 or 146, as we invite Kelly to lead us in the Baruch Hu.
Baruch et Adonai hamerorach. Baruch Adonai hamerorach le'olam va'ed.
On page 31 or 149, at the top of the page, let's read our prayer for creation together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sails of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. We praise you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. As on page 33 or 149 we find, or 151, we find the prayer for God's love. As you taught Torah to those whose names I hear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me, but you mean the struggle for me too. Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai ohev almo Yisrael, as we continue on the next page with Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto le'olam.
Please be seated as we're going to continue with Ve'ahavta on page 36 or 154. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha Hayom al levavecha, veshintantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, veshiftecha beveitecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshachpecha uvkumecha, uvshartam leot al yadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uchtavtam, Al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai bitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. And together let's read the translation at the bottom of the page. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home, when you are away, when you lie down, and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand, and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus shall you remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai your God, Adonai Elohechem Emet. It's a very apropos prayer for today as we're reading tomorrow the Exodus from Egypt. Let's go ahead and continue on page 39 at the bottom of the page as we're going to read responsively our prayer of redemption. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. Together, the high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea, as we continue on page 40 and 158 with our prayer of freedom, Mi Chamocha. On the next page, page 41 or 159, I'm just going to read that wonderful footnote by Milton Steinberg. Salvation is the Jew's victory over human limitations, ignorance, or insensitivity. It is the conquest of sinfulness, of the evils resident within the self, pride, selfishness, hate, lust, cynicism, the deliberate rejection of goodness and truth. Amen. As we continue on page 43 at the top of the page, as we read the translation for our prayer in which we ask God to protect us during the evening, page 43 or 161, let's read this together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yushalayim. As we continue on the middle of page 44, 162, with our prayer for the Sabbath. The people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day God ceased from work and was refreshed. As we're going to go ahead and turn to page 48 or page 166, I'm going to invite everyone to please rise. We're going to sing the Avot and Gevorot going from page 48 or 166 to page 50 or 168.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imot, U'mevig Geulah Livnei B'neihem, L'man Shmo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Abraham Ezra Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Le'Oshia, Mechakel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechayei HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somek Novelim V'Rofei Kolim, Umatir Asurim, Umakayim Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gigurot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memit Umakayei, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atala HaChayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekayei HaKol.
And let's turn to page 53. As we read in the middle of the page, 171 as well. Where might I go to find you, exalted hidden one? Yet where would I go not to find you, ever present, eternal one? My heart cries out to you, please draw near to me. The moment I reach out for you, I find you reaching in for me. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. As I invite everyone to please be seated as we continue on page 55 with our prayer for the Sabbath, as we'll read responsively by paragraph. I'll begin and then we'll read together. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shedding of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Together, shock us, Adonai, deny to us the false Shabbat, which gives us the delusions of satisfaction and a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. As we continue on page 57 at the top of the page, also 175. This is usually a song, but we're going to read it together where it says, Ever-present one. Ever-present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayers. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land and Zion restored in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai shotecha levarcha b'yira na'avod. As we continue on the next page, continue on page 60 or 178 with Shalom Rav, our prayer of peace.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim
And we'll conclude the Amidah on the next page as together we read the translation to Shalom Rav. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may our love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai hamivorech et amo Yisrael, Shalom. As now we turn to page 253 or 371, as it's a tradition here to sing a prayer of healing at every Friday night service. So if anyone has the names of anyone you'd like to say aloud or privately, I invite you to do so. Ron Schwartz. Together as a community, we sing our Misha Berach. Let's now take a moment of private meditation, and we'll continue with Tefillat Haderech. let's now take a moment as we're going to say a Shechianu, a prayer of celebration. To anyone who's celebrating, especially to Michael Portman, who is celebrating the marriage of his daughter, Dory, to Carl Brown, the engagement of his niece, Jade Smith, to Jason Hoffman, and the marriage of another family member, Paul and Christopher McLeod. So, mazel tov to all the things going on in Michael's life. Does anybody else have a Shechianu for anything going on? All right, so I will say a Shechianu to Michael Portman and his whole family. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Blessed are you, eternal God, ruler of the universe, who creates us and sustains us and brings us to times of great joy, just like 3 marriages to start the new year. Amen. So again, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. I think many of you know that before I was a rabbi, and even after I became a rabbi, I was a youth leader. Before that, I was a elementary school teacher, a Sunday school teacher, worked at camps with kids every summer, volunteered with kids. So I worked with kids quite a bit. So I thought I understood certain passages in the Torah dealing with children. But it really wasn't until I had my own kids that I started to think about it. And it's not easy because it's exhausting to have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. As we play hide and seek every moment I'm in the house, which is hilarious because my daughter insists on hiding right in front of me. And then I still have to go to every room in the house and say, she's not here, nonstop. As my son has no idea at 2 what we're doing. He just runs around the whole time, not realizing if he has to hide or seek or what's going on, but he has a smile on his face because he's just running and breaking things, which is really what he loves to do in life. I didn't understand, though, truly what some of the verses in our Torah meant. I think it's really helped having children. I know it's exhausting to have children, and often I don't really have time to contemplate my relationship and responsibility with them beyond where are they going to go to school next year and how or what miracle is going to help me pay for college in a few years for them. But every once in a while I read the Torah portion and it hits me the profound responsibility that has been placed upon me as a parent. We read, and you shall explain to your child on that day, it is because of what Adonai did for me when I went free from Egypt. That's right, we're on the precipice of the Exodus story as our ancestors go free, and we are taught that we must teach our children in every generation. It was because of what God did for me that I went free from Egypt. And our sages pretty much universally believe this passage to mean that every generation must see ourselves as if we were slaves and we came out of Egypt. The idea is if we believe ourselves to have been slaves, we will have a better understanding of those who really are. And it's really quite a responsibility, I now realize, as a parent. I didn't have my first kid till I think I was 49, and my second till I was 51. But the idea that I have to teach my children, who are now 2 and 4, the heavy responsibility of understanding the plight of the world. The understanding that I believe I was a slave so that I am now free and I can help others be free. And we take this to mean we have an obligation to better this world. How am I going to teach my children, 4 and 2, how to make the world better? What a heavy responsibility I have. And at 4 or 2, obviously, we're just beginning to do so, but as they get older, I have to take them to places where I volunteer. I have to sit down and explain to them why I wasn't able to come home 2 nights in a row because I was volunteering or I'm sitting on the board of an organization helping out. How even when I'm exhausted from playing with them, I will still take them to the food bank as we are going to demonstrate, even if they don't want to and they may not, they're young, how to wrap food for others. I thought I understood this responsibility as a rabbi because I had worked with youth for so long, and I think I did. But I think now that I'm a parent, I understand it at a different level. It's really a responsibility to teach them responsibility. Beyond their health and happiness, which of course is foremost in my mind, I have to help them come to understand that there are a lot of people who don't have what they have. And at 4 or 2, obviously it's very difficult because they want stuff all the time. But as they grow older, I have to teach them and model for them how to give their time and money to their families, to their community, and those who are outside their community. So I wouldn't say a burden, I would say it's a responsibility, but I think it's a holy responsibility. It's a soulful responsibility. It's a responsibility I relish because even though I may not see them when they get to be 50 or 60 or 70, when they look back on their lives at 89 or 100, I hope that when they are able to look back, they will say, you know what, I did what I was supposed to do. So Shabbat Shalom to everybody. May each of us continue passing down the responsibilities in any way we can. As I'm going to invite everyone now to turn to page 282 or page 586 in their prayer book as we're going to sing Aleinu. It's the Aleinu at the bottom of the page, by the way, 282 or 586, as I'm going to invite everyone to please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, lated gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot adama, shelo san chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, ve'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, v'lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Please be seated, everyone, as we're going to go to page 287. Let's read these next 2 paragraphs of the Aleinu together, 287 or 591. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with joy of wholeness, of freedom, and peace, as together we sing V'ne'emar and Bayom Hahu.
Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmor echad.
We now turn to page 295 or 599 as we prepare for Kaddish. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. We think about the men and women who died during the previous weeks protecting our country as members of the armed forces. We think all about all the people who died over the last 2 years from COVID. We honor the memory of the yahrzeit anniversary of Henry Berger, Morris H. Bernstein, Pearl Silver Bernstein, Rabbi Joseph M. Buchler, Gloria Dember, Dr. Emil Eisenberg, Tessie A. Getz, Martha Gumpert, Rosalind Heflin, Abraham Kamine, Lawrence Kaufman, Sherry Portman, Theodore Rabb, Sidney Schaffman, Riette Stein, Benjamin Ullman, and Bessie Louise Cooper Yates. And we honor the memory of Walter Weil, who was laid to rest earlier today, and Lee Sellinger, who died recently. Does anybody else have the name of someone they'd like to add? The Kaddish praise is on the previous page, as I invite everyone who would like to please rise. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah. V'yalma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute. V'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. V'agala uv'izman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mirach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'rechu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Damiram be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say amen. As I invite everyone, please be seated, as it's also a pleasure to invite up our president, our Parnaseet, Leslie Westmoreland.
Thank you, Rabbi. Good Shabbos, everyone, and Happy New Year. I hope everybody's had a really great start to this new year, and that it'll be a healthy, happy year for all of us. I want to thank Jonathan for sitting up here with me today. Also to Kathy for helping usher. She was brought into service right there at the last minute, unsuspecting as she came to synagogue today that she'd be helping out, but she accepted the challenge, and we so appreciate it. Thank you to all who are here, and thank you to all watching on your computer or on TV today. I do have just a few announcements. One, everybody needs to be sure and put on their calendar Sunday, January 30th, which will be our annual meeting. Our plan right now, Jason, who is helping us to get that set up as he makes all the magic happen so that we can have an in-person meeting as well as having that meeting on Zoom. So please put that date down for that afternoon, and more details about that will be forthcoming. Glenn Kersey is also starting Torah study again tomorrow, right, Glenn? And so that's back after a little bit of a holiday break, and that'll be right after services tomorrow. Pardon? 1 o'clock, at 1 o'clock. And so that's in person if you're here in services, or on Zoom if you're at home. And there's a few announcements from the JEA. The Oy Vey 5K is this Sunday at 2 o'clock. So if you've not registered for that and want to take part, please go to their website. Jennifer also has information about it on the e-blast she sent out this week. And the Federation, the Savannah Jewish Community, is also going to march in the Martin Luther King Parade, and I don't think that's happened for a while, so that's really exciting. That's Monday, the 17th. And also look at Jennifer's email, and there's a link in there to register if you'd like to participate in that. The other thing we're very excited about is Mickve Israel will be helping in the effort to settle refugees from Afghanistan. And so we will be picking up a family, not picking up is the wrong word, helping a family, assisting a family. And we'll be collecting items that these families need, and so there'll be more information forthcoming. A rabbi also has the information if you'd like to volunteer in that effort and want to, and Kathy's in charge of it, so please let the office know if you'd like more information. So we're very excited to participate in that. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Stay warm. Take care.
Thank you, Leslie. As always, we appreciate it. We're going to conclude our service with a Don Olam on page 322 or 626. I'm going to invite everyone to please rise. It's kind of our tradition to rise for the closing prayer. A Don Olam, page 322 or 626.
Levar
Shabbat Shalom. Please, everyone, say Shabbat Shalom to each other as we conclude our service. Then we'll invite everyone to be seated as we're going to do Motzi and Kiddush for everyone who is watching online. Then everyone who is here will be invited outside for a little wine or grape juice and challah. If you're at home and you have grape juice or wine, I invite you to sing with me, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, v'ahava uvratzon chinchilanu, zikaron lemase v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrai kodesh, zecher letziyat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, Ve'ahava uvratzon chinchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen and L'chaim. And our beautiful challah here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lecha min haaretz. B'te'avon, Shabbat Shalom. Have a safe weekend, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll see you next Friday.